Hello students, it's me again. Uh, Welcome to yet another in a series of video lectures. Today we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about group leadership, the group leadership skills, and co-leadership skills. You will find that these skills will be very beneficial for you to learn and to incorporate as you work your way through the first section of the groups class, as well as it will give you skills to build upon as you enter into the community to complete the second part of your groups, which is the actual community groups. So with this, no further ado, let's switch to our presentation. Let's talk about leadership for just a bit. As we see here, leadership is defined as this process of guiding the development of the group and its members. So oftentimes when you're in situations where you're running groups or you've seen groups run before, as an observer, it's often uh, fairly common to actually look at and really think that, wow, this group leader is really facilitating a conversation. But in actuality, when you look a bit closer, and as you'll discover as we have some conversation through this lecture, that it's much more profound than that. So leadership actually encompasses these qualities that are here on the screen. So in effective leadership, you're basically looking at making sure that the group as a whole and its member achieve the goals that have been set, and that is the way that's consistent with our social work values and ethics. We are also responsible for meeting the social economic needs, emotional needs, of the members of the particular group as well. So when we're thinking about leadership, recognize that your leadership task will be multiple and ongoing for the duration of the time that you're in the group. So you're focusing on leading the group's work and its goal. You're focusing on the interpersonal relationships within the group. You're also setting standards, identifying roles, planning, coordinating activities, proposing solutions. You're monitoring compliance to the rules. You're also stressing the need for efficiency and productivity. Other aspects of leadership that you will have to also be aware of as you're in the process is you'll need to also be giving support, encouragement, boosting morale, establishing a rapport, showing concern and consideration for the members, and reducing tension and conflict. So those are all key aspects of leadership that you'll be expected to follow through as you're working through the process. You also have a role of actually attending to the group process. So making sure that all your members are involved, that you're using your attending skills, paying attention to verbal as well as nonverbal cues, being able to express yourself and ensuring that others have the same types of responses, responding to others, focusing the communication. Oftentimes, folks will go off task and start talking about other things, and it's your job as the leader to bring those back into uh, compliance, to make the group process explicit. So if there are conversations or dialogues that are occurring that aren't really clear, it's your job to clarify those things, as well as to guide those interactions, to block and to actually cue people is also a very key part of facilitating group, which is your responsibility as a leader. You will also be gathering data. So at the same time that you are doing all of these particular functions, you're also going to be describing thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. So you're going to expose and analyze what people are saying and summarize, partializing those things, requesting information, and then analyzing that information. So as you can see, the task of group leadership and facilitation is not just a static I'm monitoring a conversation or I'm facilitating a conversation. You're actually doing a number of things simultaneously. The actions that you'll need to be involved in terms of working is, again, supporting reframing, directing, providing advice and suggestions. Conflict is inevitable, and you'll be spending some time doing resolving that. Role playing, rehearsing, coaching. Those are all actions that we'll be looking for as you are doing your practice groups, as well as when you're doing your groups in the community. Co-leadership provides us with an opportunity, and as you now recognize, you will be in a co-facilitated model. So there'll be yourself and there'll be another member of your cohort, and you will do your groups together in a practice setting as well as in the actual community setting. So some advantages and some things to think about when you're thinking about co-leadership is that you have the ability with two people to do a greater coverage of some of those group dynamics, looking at and paying attention. You can divide the tasks. Often it's not uncommon for one group member to actually do some recording while the other person may take the lead in terms of forwarding the conversation. So moving back and forth. Assist in limit settings. You make it very easy to do role plays because there are a couple of folks doing that piece. And then you've got increased objectivity. There's always a danger in single facilitated group of the group facilitating becoming the authority, the end all, the be all. And this way you have a shared responsibility. And then you've got a source of feedback as well. Co-leadership also means that you're going to need to be able to coordinate between groups. You really need to look at setting up some time to understand and connect with your co-facilitator to understand how they see things, and as you plan your groups. Also recognizing that it's imperative that you work well together, because leaders who don't function well together actually create bigger issues. Conflict can become an issue. Deep-seated conflict can become an issue as well. And any conflict that comes up needs to really be resolved in the context of the group. So if there are things that are problematic in the group, the best resolution usually is to actually have those things resolved while you're actually in the context of that group. So this brings to a close my section in terms of this short video lecture on today, as we talk about co-leadership, but also want to have you keep in mind that these are very important skills that you will need to be able to master, because as you go into the community, again, you're moving into a setting and a situation with clients who you don't have a previous relationship with. And it's going to become imperative for you to recognize that all of these dynamics will be happening, and you'll be responsible for making sure that they are controlled in a meaningful, respectful way. As always, we would request and require that you continue to do your readings. Hopefully this video lecture will help clarify and narrow some of your reading, but come to class prepared to do our review and to move into your actual group setting. Thank you for your time.